Rocka says, giddy up.
Hey, Amy, I forgot to send you an email. Dang it, man. Here I went and had it all loaded up, ready to go, was showing, and then it said, your computer doesn't recognize this. Yakka, yakka, yakka. So I guess they'll come over in a minute.
Who's coming over?
Them, if they're there. Hi, Denise. What a crazy day. Kevin, hey. I guess everybody else, Warren, all the rest of them will show up. If I could get over there, I would try to get to the other computer and type something in since my partner in crime doesn't know how to do it. For crying out loud, yeah. And I can't see the. Hey, Rocka. Come on, Ward, get on over here. Michael trying to hypnotize us. Razbob. He can't even see me, can he? New live stream. Now I gotta shut it off somehow, or shut this out, or whatever I gotta do here. Because if I don't, that's gonna be a big issue. Do your channel. Going live again. Going live again. Nancy, pay attention to what's going on over there in the chat, please. I can't do both of these at the same time.
And I can't see it, yours.
I don't know what to tell you, kid. I think this is live now. Live watching. Yep. You owe me a $100. Yeah.
You got all my money.
I noticed. Why do I got all your money? I can't tell if that's live or not live. It moves so slow. Oh, there he is. There we go. I see you guys. Thank you. We's here. Neil's here. Southeast here. Amy's here. War's got lost. Oh, there he is.
Hey, War, where'd you go?
Scroll that thing on down till you get to it, sweetie. I got to get back over here. I'm going to invite.
This one's automatic for it.
Well, that's good. Invite guest. Who's it going to be? There we go. I think all I got to do is put your name in here. I'm going to put your name in here, Neil, or not your Neil name. The invitation right here, coming up. There it is. That'll get you over here. It's good to see y'all. What happened to all your? Oh, that's right. I can't see it over here. He did lose it. Rocka's #1 again.
Yeah. Denny's #2, and Amy's #3.
Yeah.
And War lost it.
Neener, neener, neener. Hey, Humble Stacker.
Hey, Humble.
There he is. Let's see. There we go.
He says I'm dethroned.
There he is.
How's it going?
Good, thank you. It's been crazy, huh?
What is that?
Oh.
A kitty cat or a wild critter?
What does it look like? It's a leopard.
Oh, you pretty.
Oh, Oh, well, I'm still greeting people in all that. Uh, yes, and he'll eat your dinner too. So, talk about what you were talking about earlier, stocks and bonds and everything that's in your opinion is going on. That'll kick it
Oh,
going.
okay. Well, I've been looking at the way things are going, and I know, like in the car industry, for the past 20 years, they've been trying to get people to buy less combustion engines, and they've been pushing the pure electric, and that hasn't gotten enough people off the combustion engine. So they're coming up with a new strategy, and China's building a couple different power plants for cars to where we'll have 4 or 5 different power plants to choose from for the engines in our cars, which will get a majority of people off the combustion engine. And
Yeah.
in doing that, it's going to lower the oil and gas prices because combustion engine use is going to go down. So we're going to be that told me that we're changing up our economy a little bit. So I started looking to see what was going on,
Amen.
and I found out that the Nuclear Regulatory Agency used to take like 20 years to approve a nuclear reactor. They're
Yeah.
now fast tracking micro and small modular reactors to where within 6 months they can get approved and start building. And I was like, well, hold on, that's 40 times faster than normal. There's got to be something going on. So I started looking at the energy market and seeing what's
Hmm.
going on there. And it looks like America is taking over the energy market of the world. And that's when everyone was talking about how Saudi Arabia said they were going to join BRICS. I said, no, they weren't, because they're with America. And then they said, nah, we're going to join BRICS. We're going to stay with America. It confirmed that America's got control of the energy market. So if the Nuclear Regulatory Agency is changing up from taking 20 years to approve a license to 6 months, that tells me there's great investment opportunity in the micro and small modular reactor energy production sector. And so far, that sector has blown up. It's gone up.
Yeah.
I think nano nuclear energy's gone up like 800% in 13 months. So as far as profit margin goes, I understand the need for precious metals, but there's so many. If you get the right investments and you do your own research on it, there are a lot of investments out there that'll quadruple and more what you'll get as far as profit margin off of actual gold, which leads me to believe that gold's not supposed to be used for wealth gain, but wealth preservation. And people ought to start looking more at wealth gain and then take those gains and sink them into gold. And I think that's the thing that a lot of the stackers are missing by not taking advantage of gains and taking those gains and sinking them into wealth, which is gold and silver and platinum. They're just buying gold and silver and platinum and thinking that's going to increase their wealth. And it'll maintain their wealth with inflation, but it won't increase it. So I push stocks that I see they're going up.
Practice stacker.
And another one is the medical marijuana sector, because Trump in his first term said he was going to nationally legalize medical marijuana, and he never did. And then as of November 6th, 2024, the DEA and Justice Department started working on declassifying marijuana from a class 1 to a class 3 felony. And I believe they've already done that, because I'm fixing to get a job as a union iron worker on a federally funded job, and they're not testing for weed. And that's the first time in 30 years that they haven't tested for weed. So that tells me that they've changed the rules, or are in the middle of changing the rules of marijuana being a class 1 felony to a class 3 felony, which makes it open for medical and industrial uses. And it'll allow Trump to fulfill his first term's campaign promise of saying medical marijuana will be nationally legalized. So having said all that, I suggest people look at medical marijuana stocks, because they also will fly a lot higher than gold and silver and platinum will. And then you take your gains from those things and sink them into preserving the wealth that you gained. And that's the way I see stacking. And a lot of people say I'm crazy for saying it that way, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Big old maple.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
That's why I try to give out good stock picks that I see as very profitable, and I encourage people to look at and do their own research on, so that people become more knowledgeable about what's going on, so they can make better decisions and more profitable decisions, and then sink all those profits fits into
Hey,
maintaining.
Rob.
Nancy's just greeting the people. You can go on.
Oh yeah, no, I know how it goes. I've been on a couple panels where they do that.
Yeah.
No, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. For some reason, I've had 16 months off of work, and instead of sitting on my butt doing nothing, I figured, might as well learn something about the economy and why I'm not working. And then I started learning stuff, and I just kept learning and learning and learning. And then I started seeing things happening as far as, pathways and of money flow. And I was like, wow, this is cool. And, so I just did research. What's up, Go Mabel? And for 16 months, I've just done nothing but research on this stuff.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be a financial advisor or go to school. You just have to be interested and learn. All the knowledge is out there. You just have to start asking questions.
Yeah. It's just like coin collecting. You don't have to go to school. You just got to be willing to learn.
Exactly. You have to be open-minded enough to learn.
Yeah. I've been listening to a few people that I just get shocked by some of the things they're saying, because it actually, I didn't even know what blue BU meant, and I kept hearing the word, and I finally, to understand it, there's BU, there's choice BU, there's gem BU, there's super BU, and each one represents a different grade.
Yeah.
And if you go into a shop and you say, "Hey, I'm looking for
Hey, Dabo.
choice BU," they know that you're looking for something between 63 and 64.
If you don't learn that knowledge, you'll never know it.
Yeah. And something else I learned was what they call the marketplace price, and that's the grade. There's really the grade versus technical versus excuse me, I jumped off. But then there's a thing called technical grade. So you got two different types of grading there, and the marketplace price is what will people pay, and what's hot out there and what ain't, And I was collecting 64. Jesus.
Morgan.
No, not Morgan's.
TC.
Peace dollars. And come to find out, there's really not a market in it. That's the reason the prices are down, because there's too much of it out there.
Yeah, the supply is too high.
Yeah.
The lower the supply, the higher the price will eventually be. That way, when you look at buying new coins, gold or silver, platinum coins, you look at how many they minted. And that's why, again, I suggest looking at platinum, because they've got the lowest mintage for 2025 year of platinum coins that they've ever had. So in about 10 or 20 years, all the numismatic people will be seeking for the 2025 platinum coins, because there's a low mintage, which will gain them more value over time.
Yeah. And the price is right now.
Oh, well, yeah, it's still good. Platinum's probably going to run up. It's going to pass gold's price. I'm sorry, everyone, for that, but it's going to take its rightful place as the world leader of the precious metals market price wise, and it typically and traditionally and historically, other than the past 12 years, has always been no less than twice the value of gold, and it is going back to that. I would say if people start looking into and doing their own research on a gold to silver or gold to platinum play, because I told people to do that about a little over a month ago, when you could have taken one gold coin and traded it for 3 ounces of platinum plus 6 ounces of silver, where today, a month later, you can only get 2 ounces of platinum and like 8 ounces of silver. So you would have gained $800 to $900 of value by just changing your gold into platinum, because platinum's running and gold's not.
Yeah.
So even if you want to stay a stacker, you can actually grow your stack and not spend any more money by just exchanging. Everyone talks about the gold to silver ratio, but right now the big play is the gold to platinum ratio, because in about 2 years, every platinum coin you'll be able to trade in for 2 gold. To where right now I can trade in You can trade in 1 gold for 2 platinum, wait a couple of
AFC
years,
stalker.
reverse that, and that's how you gain wealth without spending money.
Yeah. Yeah. There's got. Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out how do you buy things, and how do you approach, and where do you go to approach, to get better prices in this, even collecting or stacking, whichever way you are. And so I'm beginning to learn, and I went up and talked to a coin dealer close to me, about 30 miles away, and he had the gray sheet, and I began realizing that there's more to this gray sheet than a lot of us know, and how they go. All the coin dealers base everything on that, plus or minus,
And that's the funny thing about that is again, it drops back to knowledge. And when it comes to numismatics, there's quite a few people that know about numismatics, but the people that really know the price differentials and the specificities of the numismatic are rare. So it's actually, I would say it would be almost as hard to liquidate numismatics for their best price as it would be to liquidate platinum.
Mm. Well,
because
yeah.
How do you know that you're not getting screwed on that 64 when it's like, say, it could be a BU Brilliant and you don't know, and that numismatic guy isn't really that familiar with, that in depth at the numismatic market, or he could be and just not want to tell you how valuable a piece it is. And so, I mean, there's just, I don't know. You got to trust people in the numismatics.
Family.
Yeah.
I have issue with trusting people because too many people are selfish right now at this time in history.
Well, there's that too, and on the other hand, to go along with that, there's, every coin dealer has overhead, crazy overhead. They're paying for a building if they own it or running it. Either way, they're still paying the government, right? And if you own it, you're still paying taxes. That's rent, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Here in Ohio, go ahead.
I'm coming up with a solar and wind powered catamaran design that'll require no fuel whatsoever, and it'll be just like a house, because I'm changing the whole layout of the actual frame of the catamaran to change its look and everything to make it more homely, giving it more interior room and storage room and whatnot. And one of my sales points that I'm looking at making at that is you don't have to pay property tax on it. Once you buy it, it's yours.
Yeah, it ain't on no property.
Yeah, you can move a catamaran, and if it's not a gas-powered engine, it's a solar and wind-powered, you're never going to have to pay for fuel. And actually, the world laws on recreational boating are by the year 2030. There's going to be no more combustion engines allowed on motor vehicles for residential use, for retail or residential or commercial, non-commercial use. In other words, every recreational vehicle out there will be other than.
Mm.
So it's actually a growing field. If you want to get into a field that's growing, your other than gas-powered boat engines and motor floating vehicles are going to go either electric, hydrogen, or something, but they're not going to be combustion fuel, and it's a growing market that the younger kids might want to look into for job security.
Yeah. What do you think about hydrogen? I think there's a future. We just can't seem to get through to it.
I think hydrogen, anything you're going to make with hydrogen, you need platinum for.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so anything they say they're building a hydrogen engine, I love hearing that, because that means the use case of platinum just increased, and it's going to drive the price even higher. And thank you for bringing up platinum, because right now on the planet, we are down to a 3-month above ground supply of platinum. And if we don't get new platinum somewhere soon, we're going to run out of platinum.
Oh boy.
Luckily, there's a new platinum mine discovered in Canada, of all places. It's not outside of the BRICS control. So that's one reason why the price of platinum is going up, because they're extracting platinum out of the ground in Canada now, competing with South Africa and Russia, which, of course, all of us know that those are 2 BRICS countries, and they're trying to control as many sectors of the world economy as possible. And they thought they had platinum covered. But now there's a platinum mine, and it's a pretty big one in Thunder Bay, Canada, and they just started mining. And there's another good investment. Their stock price is 4.5 cents. And as once you start looking at platinum miners that have been around for 40 years, their stock prices went up to $40 to $50, and they're now back down to 6 or 7. And yeah, I did say the newest platinum miner on the planet's stock price is 4.5 pennies right now. So you can anticipate it going up about 100x within 10 years. And it'll pay dividends for a residual income. So like if you waste a $450 getting 1,000 of them, you could get $1,000 check every year as a dividend, which is more than you paid for the stock. So I find that to be a good investment as well.
So this is pretty interesting, and of course, you know, there's so many opinions out. Who knows?
Oh yeah,
I don't
and I
know.
don't care.
You know?
I don't care if people believe me or like my opinion. I just want to enlighten people to a possibility of earning a different type of income other than like work and retirement. You have dividend stocks out there that are real cheap right now, that if you do your own research and research into them, you can buy them for pennies on the dollar now. And then when they grow and start paying dividends, you'll get your money back on the first year of dividends. Everything after that's pure profit margin, just because you were smart enough to have bought that thing. I mean, how better to make money than that, you know?
Yeah.
I just don't want to see people be poor in the next 10 years. I want to see people making money.
Sounds good.
Even if they don't use what I say, at least hopefully they'll research into it and find their own diamond mine in the stock market. Say, oh, well, no, this one's going to be it. I'm going to invest in it. And they do their own research. And if you do your own research, you should be confident in your investments, you know?
Yes.
And that's how people get rich, not listening to other people say, buy this, sell now. The way to do it is learn it yourself and know when to buy and when to sell. And then you'll see online all these people talking, and you'll say, wow, they're full of crap. Like your Kramers, you know, makes $500,000 a year to lie to you.
Oh my goodness. You know, I hear so many things going on, but I find it interesting that silver's been holding right in that 35 area, and there's you know, some people are saying it's going to go down, some people are going to say it's going to hit the ceiling, and well, I don't really know. I just know that I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing, and and that's one of the reasons why I'm collecting coins, you know, valuable coins, and I'm stacking at the same time. So I'm doing both. I got one over here that'll hold me if anything gets rough, and I got the other one that as long as things stay even keeled and we don't go down some rabbit hole or in a sewer, one or the other, we'll be able to come out of this all right. Our situation, we're retired both of us retired seniors with oh my God. Some people would laugh if they knew how we get through the day and still be able to do all this. Well, one of the reasons why is because we've cut out the fat, and we stay with the basics. You know, a lot of people feel like they have to go out to the restaurant and eat all the time. Well, I find that well, I haven't found a restaurant around here I want to go to eat. I don't even want to go to Burger King anymore with that horrible hamburger they got out now.
I wouldn't even touch fast food. There's no way you could. I wouldn't eat fast food. Right? It's so horrible for you.
Yeah. And when I was younger, I worked at a Burger King, right? And the guy that owned the business wouldn't buy the hamburger coming from Burger King. He'd go out and buy his own, and he bought really good hamburger, and it made his restaurant do really well because the people knew they were going to come in there and get a good hamburger. So
here's something. See Gold Maple's statement. He says, I think gold will continue to go up gangbusters. I've been saying this on my channel. The reason why gold has been going up, it's been a false up, not following the pattern of the typical bull market of precious metals, because Basel III enactment started July 1st, and it ends July 1st,
Hey,
2025 when it
Mr. Hawk.
started, and it ends June 30th, 2028. And all central banks in the world had to increase their gold holdings over 2.5-fold to stay or even come close to being in compliance. And that's why I believe all the central banks were buying all that gold. And I think I'm kind of right because I saw statistics saying so far as of January 1st, gold buying has slowed down by the central banks, which means that my theory of them buying it to stay in compliance with the new regulations of Basel III was more online than it being run with the bull market. Having said that, that means that you won't see the gold to silver run on the normal ratio, so it'll be hard to tell because they always say in a precious metals bull market, gold runs then silver sprints. But I don't think gold's been running off of a basic bull market statistics. I think it was running because of abundant purchasing by the central banks and abundance, which always causes the price to go up. So if the price of gold stagnates for a couple months or goes sideways and barely goes up, that means that the gold run still hasn't finished for silver to start its run. And I think that's confusing a lot of people because they think that gold went up because of the bull run. And I think it was more because of excess buying by central banks because they had to come in compliance with Basel III. Now that July 1st, 2025 has already passed us, they don't have to, they've already purchased a majority of their gold. So gold will slow down on the buying end, which will allow the price to stabilize and not go up for a while.
Yeah, I do. I have realized it, and probably everybody else in here that's been paying attention that realizes that there's been a lot of manipulation going on. We just don't always know what, and we just, there's so much different information out there. It's like, well,
we do know for a fact when a lot of people start buying something, the price goes up, and when it comes to markets, because it's called market share, it gains market share, so therefore the value goes up. And we all realize that 2008 actually happened, and that the whole world financial system came up with regulations to prevent that type of catastrophe from happening again. And that is known as Basel III. So everyone can read it because all the world banks actually wrote it and agreed to go by the standards that are set in Basel III, and they all agreed to start them January 1st, or July 1st, 2025. So all that stuff's not speculative. You can actually Google it yourself, read it, and see what it says, and also see in Basel III how they value gold and silver as an asset class, because that actually changes up a little bit as well, and that will affect the price of both silver and gold eventually.
What do you think about the silver paper market?
I think it is like everything else. Once you let an ETF or a paper market into an asset class, you've lost price control.
Yeah. Boy, yeah. I'm just shocked that it's still staying around 35, 36. It get up there just a little tiny bit into 37, and then boom, back down it goes.
It's no longer run by fundamentals if it's run by paper. Paper is run by emotion.
Yeah.
Not fundamentals. So you can't count on fundamentals for the price of silver going up as long as there's more paper silver than physical silver.
Yeah, that's true. I'm glad I really am glad a lot of people would like to see it go down. I just like this. I'm really not bothered by it sitting right there. I would be bothered if it dropped fast down or go up fast.
I think people's perception. I think people have a misconception of the precious metals use case. You shouldn't look at it to save you. You should look at it as your wealth creation bank, using it like a collateral in building up the collateral like in your house without taking and refinancing it. And not I don't think people should look at it as I'm going to buy a house off of this silver. I'm going to buy a house one day off this gold. Because I think when you look at it like that, you get confused to the actual use case of it being a wealth preservation thing. Because if you look at the mega rich, they don't use gold and silver in daily trade. They sit on it for generations. So that must mean that they don't consider using it for at least one or two generations, which is at least, well, hell, that's 40 to 45 years, which is a precious metals bull market run time. So if so what I'm basically saying is I think people are looking at precious metals and thinking it's something that it's not, because it only runs every 45 to 50 years do you get a bull market in gold and silver. So if you're counting on it and living off of it, buy enough to last 50 years. Because it's not going to, after this bull market, we're not going to have another bull market in the precious metals for 45 to 50 years. So it's not an asset class that I personally would base my financial future on gaining wealth off of, because you're buying into something that won't go up after this run for another 45 years. So if you want to gain wealth, I'd look at other asset classes. If you want to store wealth, I'd look at precious metals. And I see a lot of people online saying, oh, I'm stacking it so I can use it later, to barter or to something like this. And my answer to that is, well, why don't you gain a valuable skill? Keep buying your gold and silver because it is valuable, but in a bad time, use your skill that you learned and acquire gold and silver instead of spending it. So that way, when the bad times are over, you'll even be wealthier instead of spending it. That's the way I see it. Now, in your scenario, it's a little different. You're in retirement years, you had said earlier. And, I know, hell, I'm only 57 and I don't want to go out and work. So I can only imagine being like 60 something and have to go out to work. So that scenario is different than a younger person who's stacking.
Yeah, we're in our mid 70s now.
Getting rich.
Yeah, we're in our mid 70s, and so basically we're using that to cover each other's butt in case something happens. For example, if something happened to me, well, she'd have something to go back on, and vice versa.
And like I said, that your scenario is a different scenario of the typical that I see a YouTube's show talking about stacking, and the people in the chat, they're not coming at it from that angle. And that your scenario is a more proper angle for a use case of actually using your metals, because you're not in a position to go start a company, go out and get work again. Everyone's scenario is different,
and our health wouldn't allow us to get out there and do that anyways. So there you go. But the one thing I do know is that whatever we're doing and whatever our age, we can always. I only use this stuff in emergencies, and probably getting to be more important is to better myself with what I have, and to trade up and to move up with what I have, instead of I can just have bullion, but it's if I can take what I've got and the money that it's gained, just staying right here, just sitting here, and I'm learning how to do that. I'm actually able to get better grades. Get better coins.
There you go.
Without putting a lot of money into it.
Yeah, and that's why I said to look at the gold and platinum play, because you can actually make money without putting any money out, just off of what you have. You can make money on it.
I bought buffaloes for $20 an ounce. Now they're 36, 37.
There you go.
That's not bad. Am I going out there and say, oh, let's go cash them in and go out and go do something for the weekend? No, I'm not doing that. I'm you heard that. I'm using it to reinvest into what I got.
Yeah,
and I don't think as much. I actually, because when you start getting to into better coins and better whatever you're getting, if you're focusing on getting better instead of getting more, get better. Get less, but get better. And I don't have to run out the door. Now, am I going to trade it in for gold? No, I'm not going to trade it in for gold, because if I trade it in for gold, what I got to do, unless I get grams, right? If I get the larger coins of gold, that means I got to break it down. With this stuff, I can use it with better deals, unless I'm going to really, at this point, go way. I was able to get up there in the $1,000 coins, which ain't going to happen. I'm up to $200 coins instead of $100 coins, or for $59 coins. So that's the
Right
direction I
on.
want to go. And that's four coins in MS64 that I could trade in on a really nice MS65. Just saying, that's kind of what my strategy is. It may be wrong, but I'll find out why.
Well, there is no wrong strategy, and that's I'm glad you told us yours, because what my strategy was, and I actually did a video one time of how much gold and silver and platinum I had. I've been out of work for 16 months in one of the most expensive states in America, and it actually saved me. I sold all of it, but it actually kept me from living on the street, and now I got a job so I can restart. So in
Yeah,
my scenario, having that stack that I showed it on a video about 3 years ago, I sold all of it, but it saved me. And that's what and as in your case, it will save you, but
yeah,
it's not gonna like make you a millionaire. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And
I had to.
that's how people should look at it. But I see a lot of
Yeah,
people commenting that they think they're gonna make it rich and buy a new house off of 2 gold ounces and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, people, you're not on the right track for wealth preservation if your thought process is already in that realm of thought.
I
And
could have. Yeah, yeah. Hey, I had to get a new toilet, right? And the plumbing that went with it. Plus I wanted something else. I needed the cutoff valve that comes in, that that's inside the house to cut it off for the whole house. I needed that redone, and he came down here and redid and got us a beautiful toilet, one of them fancy schmancy flush twice kind, with the seat that goes down by itself. You give it a little, put your finger on it. But to say that, I gave him 4 grams of gold to pay for everything and the work and all the extra stuff that he brought in there. I was
and that,
happy. He was ecstatic.
and that's an excellent barter scenario, and it also does the initial purpose of gold as money. No
Yeah,
one knew about your transaction except for you to you, so it was a peer-to-peer, no third-party risk. And again,
yeah,
if you go and read Basel III and what they say about gold and silver, they say it's a great asset class, a tier one asset class, no secondary party risk. And that's what you just showed and demonstrated in your story of your trade for goods and services for 4 grams of gold. No, the government didn't know about that transaction. No one knew about that transaction, and everyone was happy and got what they wanted.
yeah.
What's wrong with that scenario as far as our country to be run that way? I don't know, but our country doesn't want it to run that way. They want to know everything we buy and sell.
Of course, they want to control us. They want to control what we do.
Well, and see, there's something that a lot of people don't conceive a possibility of, that I did a YouTube show on my podcast a couple of days ago. America has not been America for several generations. We have been financially controlled, and that's, everyone asks who we owe the money to. Well, the foreign countries that we owe the money to are imperialistic countries, and they put us in debt intentionally. And they first took over the Democratic Party back in the 50s, and then they took over the Republican Party in the 80s to make it a unit party. And we've been under imperialistic control of European countries financially and economically for about 50 or 60 years. We have not ever since the fiat dollar system, actually. That's when we gave up basically our sovereignty and been controlled. That's why we're having all this crappy, freaky shit happening in America that's never happened before, because we're not actually governing ourselves. We're being governed by politicians that were put in power by imperialistic nations. And in the report that I did a couple of days ago, there's this lady, this part of a group that's been around for 50 years trying to fight that group. And she laid out how this big, beautiful bill actually cut the financial ties of the imperialists' control over America and our future, because they're the ones that have been getting us in all these proxy wars like Vietnam and Korea and stuff like that. So there's actually a bigger picture going on than what people see about, oh, Trump, oh, Biden. It's a lot bigger than that. And no one really conceives that or even believes it to be true. And that's why I did that live stream, because if more people knew the actual truth, we wouldn't have all of our self-anointed problems that we keep causing ourselves, because other people are funneling money in to cause us problems.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, just go look at the colleges.
Well, also, if you look at Trump's first term, when he went and visited the Queen, the whole world was upset. When he said, "Oh, he broke protocol and disrespected the Queen by walking in front of her." Well, that was the start of breaking the imperial control over America. He was telling the Queen, "You no longer run our shit, bitch. You control your country. We respect you for that, but we're America, and we're better than you." And that's what he showed and demonstrated. And the whole world freaked out and called him an asshole for basically starting the cutting of the ties of that British, French, Spanish, and European money that's been controlling our political system for over 50 years.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the problem, and it just got solved. It'll be a while before we feel the effects of it because there's so much residual money in there and a lot of mental people still out on the streets, but it'll eventually go away.
Good Lord. Yeah.
I mean, that's how Obama, he was controlled by them too. That's why he took and made and no offense to anyone. I don't mean to offend anyone when I say this, but I am a Christian, so I'm explaining my belief system. No one else is, and you can hate me for my belief system. In the Bible, it says homosexuality is an abomination of God and man. But under the Obama administration, he changed homosexuality from being a mental disease to being normal.
Mm-hmm.
What's that do for society? You want to know why we're so screwed up right now as a society? Because we're trying to accept that mental patients are actually normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the consequence of that action.
And immorality. And we don't even understand what the immorality is.
That follows suit. That all of it follows suit, and all of it was paid for by the imperialistic control that put Obama in power.
And isn't it funny that every empire fell, and when they fell, what was in their midst? Immorality, homosexuality, bestiality, all the nasty.
But America's not falling. There's never been a world power in history that's fallen after 250 to 300 years. They go for an average of 2,000 to 1,500 years. The last 500 is the decline. So if you follow the natural flow of historical world powers, we've got another 1,200 years before we start a decline. What was happening just now, again, was the imperialistic. It was like another revolution against Europe. Instead of a physical gunfight, they were trying to economically. Again, I have proof of this because back in 91, everyone says there was no weapons of mass destruction in Saddam Hussein's war chest. But I ask you this question: would not a weapon that could destroy our economy be considered a weapon of mass destruction? Because we actually collected several $1 trillion of counterfeit $100 bills and the dies it took to make them, and they were good enough. And as a matter of fact, if you want to check history, we went back and changed the $100 bills after that war because there's so many counterfeit hundreds that was going to crush our economy and throw us into a third world nation. I think that would be considered a weapon of mass destruction, considering our lives would be, we'd be eaten out of tents right now. I think not having a house and not having a first world country is a weapon of mass destruction. A lot of people don't think that, but it is true that they did have over several $1 trillion of counterfeit $100 bills that they were going to flood our nation with.
I always thought that what they were after. I mean, you'll be. What did he used to say? Eat the bugs and you'll be happy, kind of thing.
Yeah, eat the bugs.
Yeah, and all that stuff. They would be happy if we were in little huts with and of course no fire because that's bad. Eating cold gruel. If they doled us out some cold gruel, and all we would be, everybody, there'd be two classes, just like they go back to the emperors and the kings, two classes, ain't nothing in between. You're either very rich or you're very poor, and they would love for us to be subservient, where they could be the all powerful, and tell us what to do from the minute we get up to the minute we go to bed.
We were like that in the 1800s, bro. Don't you remember the railroad barons?
Yeah.
They were building houses, killing people that got in their way, doing all kinds of fucking shit, bro. This is just a repeat. And America survived and was better for it,
Well, yeah, when we survived. Got rid of the higher denominations. Yeah, 500,000, 5,000, 10,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
Craig is 100% correct. Hello, by the way, Craig. I didn't say hello to you. And 49949 Suck Designs.
Yep, we're having fun here. we're
Yeah,
we're
I have a lot of
we're picking his brains and learning new things.
I have a lot of weird studies that I have done in life that make people think I'm crazy.
Well, ain't we all? But the point of it is, it's never a conspiracy until it's proven to be a conspiracy. Uh,
True
I'm
that.
wait, I'm waiting for that that particular thing to come out, and so far they've been denied, denied, denied. Hey, T-Bird, good to see you, friend. And so far, oh no,
Hey,
that didn't
T-Bird.
happen. Uh, uh, there was no crimes because we can't find the innocent victims or something like that. I'm going, what? We know there was victims. Yeah. So that there's a whole lot of stuff was involved with that, and a whole lot of people, and it's CYA. So well, eventually it will all come out. It will.
The 8949 designs.
Might be after we're all dead, but it will come out, and probably may.
For those people that research it, the truth will always be discovered.
Yes.
Typically, though, the powerful empires in charge are the ones that write history. So you got to go to the other side and read what's ever left of the history of the defeated, and then put together the two stories. And somewhere in the middle is where you get the truth.
Well, there you go. And the winner always has the story, right?
Yep, that's just like the tale of piracy. It actually didn't start out as being pirates. They started out as being revolutionaries. And the actual original skull and crossbones flag
Mm-hmm.
was a replica of John the Baptist's flag, which was the skull and crossbones.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then they changed it after that when the English and the French realized that they were losing control. Again, another attempt earlier in the 1500s to try and get rid of imperialistic control.
Howdy.
So yeah. Well, then it became privateers, and then it
Yeah.
became pirates, and they took the origination of the actual privateers and then pirates, and they allowed other people, and it grew into a movement of illegal shit. But it started out, the genesis of it was a revolution against English royalty and French and Spanish royalty. It was a revolution, and they used John the Baptist flag as their sign of independence and freedom.
Mm.
But because they lost, we see them as bloodthirsty bastards, which indeed they turned out to be. But it's like the story of the Hells Angels. They started out as the dirty, rotten bastards after World War II, and they were basically just a group of veterans that couldn't assimilate back into normal life. They weren't they weren't drug dealers. They weren't fucking going around shooting people up. They were just guys that couldn't reassimilate into normal life, so they found a life that they could fit into. And then it evolved from that into a drug dealing, human trafficking gang. But that wasn't the origination of it. It was perverted into that. Same thing happened with piracy and several other things in our history.
Yeah.
They didn't start out what they ended up being because of the control of what it started out to was crushed, and it was turned into something else for history to see it other than what it was. So that way it would mislead a lot of people, keeping us peasants.
Yeah. At one time, it was a necessary evil, and they all used them. But I think we were even using them to get stuff to us, to get through the British and all that during the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, Gold Maple. That's where the English hook up with the
Hey,
Indian,
Peninsula.
not Arabs. That's why I like tea. And actually, India is the birthplace of tea, from my recollection as well. Or, yeah, the Himalayas, the same. It's Indian control area, even though it's disputed.
Yeah.
China thinks they own it.
Yeah, I think if you're about finished, maybe we can bring bait to hook or both of you, as long as y'all get along now.
If you want me to step down, it is your show, brother. I will step down. It's your
I don't
everything.
mind if you stay up or not.
This is your show, my brother.
Yeah, let's see what goes on here.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll just we'll just wing it and see what it. I want everybody to listen to what people are thinking, and a lot of times we don't get to hear all of it.
More
I
perspective seems for a better calculation of what you can do. Less perspective
sir.
means you're blind.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that. So yeah, he's going to stay up, and Bait the Hook is going to come on in. I'm going to send him a link, and we'll just have some fun. Copied, it says. Okay, there we go again. Bait the Hook. I'm going to put this in there. Yeah, I'm going to do it right now. Thank you. There we go. There you go. Grab it. I'll be looking for you. I think I can get as many as 2 people in here, maybe. I think so. We'll find out. And then maybe I'll get a chance to there he is. I see him.
18 months.
There we go. Hello, Bait the Hook.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Hey, I made it.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Yeah. If you have I would say that from what I learned, if you have a disagreement, well, then go do your own research. There's a lot of stuff out there that we need to learn about to get through the mess that we're going through. I think what we got, my own personal opinion, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I'm glad to have the man in the president's office now, because I'm seeing progress. I'm seeing them going after the deep state, and I appreciate it. So that's what I'm thinking now. Got to be a whole lot better than the last two who just tried to decimate our economy.
What's up, Amy?
Tried to get us and leave us lay.
Yeah, thanks for letting me come up on panel, bud. Good to see you guys.
You're welcome. So what's going on? What have you been thinking about?
Oh, not much. Just I was on the phone. I said I always try to support you guys, just hanging out in the background and
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Not much going on here into my live stream and seeing you as live, so I thought I'd pop up and say hey.
Hey, I appreciate that. I really appreciate it. I think everybody's looking at your stuff there.
Oh, I just got a bunch of little silver up here. These are silver Grammys. These up here.
Okay, cool.
We usually run races, $2 spot races and stuff. We do auctions and bins, and we hang out and have a good time on my channel. We're low key.
Yeah, cool. I'm looking over here at the chat, and I can't keep up with what's going on. I just can't do it.
I've been saying hi to everybody.
Oh my! Thank you, Nancy. So somebody take it, Neil or Bait the Hook. Give me a moment. I need to do something here, anyways. I appreciate it.
Okay.
I was being polite and muted up so BTH could talk. But yeah, we'll have a conversation and eat up some time while you do what you need to do, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
posting the link.
That BTH, that what you're showing, those coins, how is that part of a racing? What is that racing thing? This intrigues me, but I'm at a loss of understanding on what you're doing with this. Could you explain it, please, sir?
Oh, these here we run $2 races. It's a donation to the channel. It's support. Then we run a race, and the first.
Oh, okay, so I thought you were like racing the actual coin or something, like on a Hot Wheels track or some stuff like that. I had a total misconception. My bad.
Oh no, we just run a race. It's an animated race. It's a cartoon race we do.
Oh, okay, and those are the prizes that you give out for the winners. Okay.
Yeah, first one across the finish line. When gets their choice pick, and we have Mercury dimes too. We have, I don't know, I got a bunch of these flipped up like Merc dimes that you can get in there, get on those.
Right on. Yeah, it does actually sound. Oh, so those are 10th ouncers.
Yeah,
Yeah. Until you stuck that mercury dime up there, they all look like 1 ounce coins, bro, to me.
yeah.
Size was off. I was thinking those were all little 1 ouncers down there.
Cancel ketchup chip acquired taste. Yeah.
No, we hang out, have a good time. We have I've been trying to run some of these silvers. If you guys like silver, here's a nice 1930. It's old silver quarter here.
Yeah,
I
standing
know some of you
liberty.
guys like some of the old quarters and stuff. 90% silver.
Oh yeah.
And we run some of these. We do a lot of auctions too. If you guys don't like races, we run auctions too. Like here's 1 ounce silver Superman.
Looking good.
These are pretty cool. I think about 1 million mintage on these. These are 2016. We just show coins. We're just like any other coin channel. We hang out, have fun,
That
have
is
a good time.
funny as hell that the Queen would have an American Superman coin.
Right. Here's a cool one. Here's a peace dollar, a tone. Peace dollars usually don't tone, but this one here's pretty sweet. PCGS, they said that's a stunner coin there. It's hard to get with a peace dollar tone. Kind of rare, but not rare.
Baka says I like pastries.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
I love them. I got a Morgan that the cap looks like it's toned so that the cap looks like it's got gold. It's gold in it. It's really unusual looking. Never seen
Oh,
it
no
before.
kidding. It's got
Beautiful.
that nice color
That
to it.
gold. Yeah.
And here we got, this is the last one of these I got. This is a proof silver. So this is vintage here, proof silver. So this is from the coal company. It's Brushy Creek in 1993. It's 1/20 ounce silver.
Somebody stole War's crown with it.
So on my channel, we do bins, we do auctions, we do just about anything. We're just hang out and have a good time.
That's cool. Oh, somebody's. What is that? Oh, bacon
But
cheeseburger.
anybody's welcome to come up,
Cheeseburger.
hang out over on my channel. Actually, we got a new private Facebook group called Midwest Coin Club, and it's a private group. You can only get in through the link. If I share it.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, you don't see them gold maple. You can't find them on eBay, and they're. In fact, I've got the old. Let me see if I can find it. It come with a check stub with it. This is part of the coin collection that I bought a while back.
Hey, Niels, I'm gonna get a little coffee warm up. I'll be back. And Nancy will be here. Keep an eye on the chat for me, sweetie.
I did.
Thank you. No.
Fan saw us talking about custard now, Scottish custard or English custard. He's getting me warmed up for some eating.
I like custard.
Oh my God, that's my favorite dessert.
Of course, I like anything that's sweet, like pies, cakes, cookies. You name it, I like it.
Oh, Miss Bate made a nice cherry pie this year from our cherry tree.
Ooh.
Chocolate is needed for the survival of humanity. The dinosaurs didn't have any, and look what happened to them.
Howdy, Mr. and Mrs. West Texas. Don't mind me. I'm greeting the newbies.
Custard pies or frozen custard ice cream.
Ooh, that looks good.
Okay, I'm not seeing nothing but a picture of a knife and a dime and a quarter.
We got a few of each one on the table.
Here's a cool looking.
Is that a steel penny?
Steel set. Yeah, 43. Yeah. Usually you see them; they're all rusted and crusted up. This is a nice one here. Yep, 1943.
If you need a recipe for cheesecake, I got bunches.
Because they needed all the copper and stuff for the
war effort. Yeah, it looks like someone cleaned it.
Yeah, it does. But no, this one's not cleaned. It's a nice one. Trying to show it here.
That goes back to showing the value of things. Pantyhose were highly sought after during World War II, the same time those pennies were being created, along with rubber.
Pantyhose and rubber? No kidding.
Yeah, the pantyhose were used for parachutes, and I can't recall what the rubber was used for. Most likely tires, because they were producing a lot of vehicles, but I'm not 100% sure.
Here's a cool piece here, Bait the Hook. So this was made, you guys know Miss Dee Dee? She does silver pours. There's her signature, the Hamza.
Ooh.
Show it to you.
Perfect.
Yeah, this was made with 3/9 fine silver. She made it for me, could bait the hook, I like fishing and stuff.
Is that a largemouth bass?
Yeah, largemouth
bass.
Ooh.
I like fish.
Yeah. Me and Miss Bait, we go fishing a lot. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But look at the detail on, what she can do with these.
That's how I could tell it was a largemouth bass. It's quite detailed.
Yeah, her detail on her pours are pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah, it was a cool looking piece. You ought to get a small reel and hook and put it in that fish's mouth and have it as a desk piece of artwork where you have the small.
Good idea. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, a little 8-inch fishing pole with it going. Maybe even have some gold string to a gold hook going in a silver fish's mouth.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
That would be artistically that would be badass, but it would probably be expensive.
Yeah, I like fishing. This is what's in front of my studio here. I'm trying to bring this back here. There you go.
Oh yeah, you like fishing.
Oh yeah, I like fishing. Got old reels. I caught one of the biggest crappie in my county. It's whitewash. It's hard to see it. Anyway, I like fishing.
My old ironworking boss was out here in Northern California, was president of the Northern California Bass Fishing Association. And he had a lot.
Can anybody guess what this is?
Nice looking too.
Woohoo!
Gar?
Gar? No, it's just not a fish. A land mammal.
Gosh.
All teeth and bones.
Shavakubra?
Wow.
Yeah, they're mean things. Big teeth.
Yeah, got some fangs.
What, like a honey badger?
No,
Almost.
badger. No, I'm in the middle of Shawnee National Forest, so I'm like southern Illinois, West Kentucky
Yeah.
area here.
Yeah.
Would it be a badger?
Wolverine. Somebody said Wolverine. One said Bobcat.
Yep, it is a bobcat. It was a small bobcat.
That's a baby.
Yep,
Yeah, look
that's
at
the
them
baby
teeth.
there.
Craig's a saber-tooth tiger.
That's some
It looks almost like
Wow.
one with those
Woo.
big teeth.
But you
That's some
like
teeth.
this is a small one. I hit this. I ran it over, and I'm like, that's not a possum. That's not a skunk. I was on my way back from fishing for Mermaid Lake, and I hit this joker, and I went back and picked it up, and yep, that's what it is. It's a bobcat.
My goodness.
You know,
Can you
they're
imagine
actually
getting those
Looks like you're getting
canines
whole new.
like synced into your leg. Yeah.
Yeah. Woof.
one of their favorite places to attack is the back of your neck. So if you can
Yeah.
just imagine those jaws grabbing that back of your neck and the damage it would do, a small cat like that could take a man out.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
easily.
Moore said baby werewolf.
Rocco says Southern Indiana has them too.
Yeah, we
Small
got
bobcat.
what we got here now. Used to didn't have them. Is we got a bunch of dang armadillos. Used to never have them here. Here you go. Anybody know what this is?
That's a beaver.
Nope, not a beaver.
Gosh. That's his teeth in the front there, two on the top, one on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's not a beaver.
Nope, not a
No,
beaver.
there's
No.
they got teeth, but not like that.
Nope, not a mole.
Ooh, that's
I
a
tell
good
you what,
one.
a lot of people don't think of them this way, but
A mole.
this is one of the best eating marsupials you can eat.
Craig, 1976 Shelby says it's a mole.
Nope, not a mole. Same family. Nope, not a rabbit or a hamster.
Monster hamster. Rocco says groundhog.
Groundhog.
I've seen a few groundhog.
A rabbit.
Nope, not a rabbit.
Gosh. Woodchuck.
Chupacabra.
Nope. Chupacabra.
Squirrel. Woo!
Wow, like a
One
big
of the
squirrel.
best eating. One of the best eating. No, not a squirrel.
Skunk.
No, not a skunk.
No. I'd know if it was a skunk because I like them.
No,
Look at those.
Possum?
no.
You're kind of right as far as I know, War.
Yeah, you guys are close. Pretty much the same family there. No woodchuck, no squirrel, no hamster, no mole.
A baby Sasquatch.
Definitely not an elephant. The marsupial we have is a possum. It's a muskrat. It's a
Oh,
muskrat.
muskrat. Oh, my goodness.
They do eat them.
Good
Yeah.
eating, man. You think muskrat, you think marsupial or rat. You think, well, I'm not going to eat that. They're white meat. All they eat is root vegetables, and the
Yeah.
creek and the streams. Very,
Yeah.
very good eating. White meat, clean
Like
white meat.
an elephant. T-Bird says porcupine. Amy says, just cows.
And he said, just jealous. I couldn't think of the name. Oh, my.
Down south, I'd stick with gator over any kind of marsupial.
No.
Nancy likes gator.
Well, there's two reasons for liking gators. You can eat them, and it cleans your swimming hole of gators.
Of gators. Gator tail meat, yeah.
As kids, I hung around a bunch of dumb rednecks growing up. And there was this one small bridge back in the country over like a canal that was like swampy. And we used to like jumping off of bridges, and it was only like 20 foot, so it was easily survivable. So we used to always jump off of it. But there was some reeds on one side, and there was always be a couple alligators hanging out. So all of us, all at once, would run in a line, jump and do cannonballs, and there was like 6 or 7 of us, and we'd jump and do cannonballs to the right, the other side of where the reeds were on the bridge, and we used to scare the fucking alligators away, so we go swimming down there. We were stupid rednecks. It was fun though.
Morris has seen a few. Moore wants to know, do you know where Alliance will hide?
Oh, I asked him that.
Oh, you asked him that?
Yeah.
And he want to say, Michael, yes.
That's a good one, Racket. Actually, there was a nationwide story in Pensacola, Florida, on Pensacola Beach Soundside. There's a fishing dock, and this kid snagged a shark or something like that, and it made nation news. And the shark took the kid's arm, and the kid's uncle jumped off the pier onto the shark and beat the shit out of the shark and got the kid's arm back, and they reattached it to the kid.
Oh my goodness. A bull shark.
I don't know what kind of shark it was, but it was on the sound side of Pensacola Beach. They got a fishing pier near Fort Pickens, and a lot of people fish there. You're really not supposed to swim because it's right in the Gulf Inlet to Intercoastal Waterways across from the Navy base where they brought the Enterprise aircraft carrier. And the black tips and stuff, sharks are all through there. So that's why it's a good fishing bridge. It's not a pier. It's not a good swimming pier. But the kid went swimming anyway or something and got his arm bitten off.
Oh my goodness.
His uncle jumped in the water, grabbed, I don't know how he did it, but I saw it. It was on national news. The uncle saying, yeah, grab that motherfucking shark, pulled him in, took the arm out of, gutted the shark, got the arm. I don't know how he got the arm back, but he pulled the shark on the shore, got the arm back. And then they took it and they reattached it to the kid.
Wow.
So there's a lot of crazy rednecks out in Pensacola, Florida is the point.
Get your rifle.
You guys like growing vegetables and stuff like that, like tomatoes and stuff? You guys?
Yeah.
I have tomatoes and watermelon going right now in my backyard.
Oh, watermelons! I love watching watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got 5
I
plants.
love watermelon. Huh.
I'm part of a group called Midwest Giant Growers. I grow competition like vegetables and stuff.
Oh.
I had an opportunity to cheat and make myself look real good, like I was a real good grower. Because out here in California, they have agricultural fairs, county agricultural fairs, and I go to them every now and then. See the biggest pumpkin, the biggest this, the biggest that, and every year I go, I don't see a purple sweet potato, and I keep thinking to myself, if I just grow even the smallest purple sweet potato, it'll win first prize because there is no competition, and I'll be seen as a great grower because I have a first prize for growing the largest purple sweet potato in California.
Mm.
Yeah, I've got moral issues. I haven't done it, but I'm serious. I keep seriously thinking about it every year, and I say no. And that you can't do that.
I grew the state record long gourd for my state, and the state record tomato. Here's a. Let me see if I can. Here's me with my watermelon.
Ooh. That
Yeah,
is a
that's good
big
size
bag.
water.
And it's a
Stripey.
big 151 pound. It was a big watermelon. Me and Miss Bate actually was in the garden. I couldn't lift it up by myself, so we had to put like a sheet, like a bed sheet out there, and roll it in it, and kind of gurney it to the vehicle, and take it to our local our like 4-H youth fair.
Yeah. So you can get it weighed and entered into the competition.
Yeah, it was 151 pounds. It was a big one.
I don't want to weigh it. I
Wow.
want to eat it.
That's what I was thinking, Nancy. I'm like,
We-
I wouldn't wait for it to get that big. I'd have cut it up and eat
Nope.
No, and it was
That'd be
good.
gone.
Non-GMO. I said no. It's Carolina Cross. It was one of the sweetest watermelons we ever had. Actually, I posted a video of us cutting it open. And
Wow.
the TikTok video went viral. Cut open, see inside.
Yeah.
It was,
Wow.
it was
We used to love.
let me see if I. Well, here's some of the long gourds that we grew. So that's the back of the vehicle to the front of the vehicle.
Woo.
Long gourds were, I got the state record. It was 10 foot. It was 190. Here it is when it was growing. That's a 1 gallon milk jug.
Wow.
That's a
Precise
big watermelon.
It was a big old melon.
Yeah. Nancy and I, this has been years ago, we used to sell the seedless watermelons. Oh my God, they were good.
Oh, I'd take selfies by it just down there. I
Yeah.
was so proud of it. It kept growing and kept growing. The trick to growing a giant water, they love potassium, and I just grew one, per plant. Just one watermelon on the whole. And here's one of the big tomatoes we grew. Here's an apple size comparison.
Ooh, that was good too.
Yeah. It looked like a stripey. Or
Yeah.
Johnson, what do they call it? Johnson's yellow Johnson or something like that. Different names for them.
Yeah, that
It's
one.
called-
Here's a. Well, there you go. There's a tomato for you. Big tomato.
Yeah.
Have you ever grown the black heart tomato?
Not the black heart. I growed the black beauty. It was solid. It was a black tomato. And I tell you what, I'll never grow black tomatoes again. Man, they stunk so bad in the garden.
Yeah, I tried it only one time myself.
Yeah, I won't grow one again. Man, they stunk. Stunk so bad. They were good eating, but
And what did you call them? Did you call them skunk watermelons?
no. Here's a picture of the black beauty we grew. Solid black tomato.
Oh my, that's pretty.
They're good eating, but you go out in the garden, you try to. Yeah, they stink so bad.
Hmm.
Here's a picture of the giant sunflower. It was a
Hmm,
mammoth,
yeah.
mammoth sunflower.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've grown Russian sunflowers that big.
Yeah, so have I. Huh. I found I put some seed. I built a well for this seniors center, and actually it was a nursing home. But and when I built this, did I say well? I meant water fountain. And I built a hill behind it with a waterfall coming down it, and I planted the two seeds on both sides of it, and they actually grew, and the heads got as big as that one there. I mean, it's just crazy. I didn't think they'd get that big, but it looked nice, really beautiful behind there. Hey, broke stacker.
And we had so many. Yeah, I got some pumpkins. We had so many sunflowers. I mixed them with
That's
ranch
probably
barbecue
more.
season. And I had sunflowers for a long time.
Yeah. Woo.
Nothing better than a homegrown sunflower. Yeah, pumpkins. I didn't get the state record, but I come close. Let me see if I can get a picture here of the pumpkin.
I'm
Actually, I've
obviously
got a seed that
something.
I'm growing next year that was from the world record pumpkin. South Dakota. What are we showing here? Oh, you got one. You got a sunflower head. Yep, I can see it. Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, there you
I had
go.
to get rid of the virtual background. This is the head of the Russian sunflower seed plant. It was like 13
Oh,
feet
no
tall.
kidding.
Yeah, huge fuckers. Just to
Heck
touch,
yeah.
I'm not lying. I actually do grow shit.
Yeah.
Wow, big. There's a background. That looks like somebody off of Nancy's favorite show, Stargate.
Happy Tiger says I like kiwi ice cream.
Ooh,
Here's a picture of the pumpkin getting weighed. Is getting weighed on the scale.
hey, West Texas. Wow.
Pretty
No,
cool.
that ended up being the new record there for it was 1883
Wow.
was the poundage on. And you would think, back then, 2,000 pounds was a hard feat to get. You growing giant pumpkins. Now they're beating that, by I think if Safeway in California, I think they're giving like $2 and something a pound. So I think the record last year was 2,000 over 2,100 pounds. So you can
Wow.
figure that $3 times first place.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
they bring it into the store?
On a
Show it off?
forklift. On a
Yeah,
forklift.
bring it in
Yeah.
there.
My God.
They'll sell it to a store or something. And then the thing
Yeah.
about growing giant pumpkins like this one here, I didn't grow this one, but here's a giant one. Well, you can sell the seeds from these things. The seeds bring like $150 each, and there's 400 or 500 seeds, in one
Wow.
of these giant ones.
Yeah. Wow.
In fact, I've got some of my seeds. It's on worldclassgardening.com. You can go there. It's if you want, but good genetics and stuff for seeds.
Yeah.
I'm not here to do that. I'm just saying I grow giant competition stuff.
Oh, there's one of Neil's kitty cats.
Kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grow kitty cats.
You grow kitty cats.
Yeah. Canslaw likes. He's got what he calls Gracie cat. I think it's Gracie cat, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just the cutest sight.
Look at her.
These little rascal kids have been picking on his cat when it gets out there and up there in Canada. They got all kinds of rules and regulations and all that crap, and you can't do nothing with crazy kids unless you want to do something that you shouldn't do.
Like spank them.
Oh yeah, well, two of them are smaller kids, so you know what that means.
Yeah.
Double handful there.
If I can show, I don't know if it's probably whitewashed by the name. Up there's some of my ribbons for giant growing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, there you go.
Try to show this. I can bring it down. You guys can see it. So this was like a long time ago.
Amy says,
Big.
cutie pie.
Illinois DNR,
Oh,
Big Fish
Yeah.
Certificate. My name, Tim White. 2-pound private in a pond, white crappie. And got the seal and everything.
Oh, 2-pounder?
Big
Is
fish,
that
yeah,
something?
2-pound white crappie. It was 16 inches long.
Yeah.
Big crappie. For a private pond, it was. It was my grandpa's pond. He went to Kentucky Lake, and they caught I don't know how many crappie. They cleaned till they got tired of cleaning, and he distributed them into the rest of his ponds there. They pretty much grew from then on.
Yeah. Thank you, Craig.
Well, that was year 2000. I was what, 20 years old? Yeah.
Wow.
But you're a youngster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
guess.
right.
I'm 45 years old. Is that still considered a youngster?
Up
Yep.
here, up here, I'm middle aged between you, Nancy, and Michael.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm 78 years old, y'all.
That's good. No
I
pick,
get,
no fish.
Hold on, was that 7 or 8 years old?
right. See, she's young again.
Does that
Now I'm
count?
enjoying being 78.
Yeah.
Took me a long time to get there, y'all.
You can tell Nancy spent 40 years in Georgia and that area. Oh my. How many
Oh
points?
yeah. I live in the deer capital of the world, Polk County, Illinois. I
Oh
tell you what,
my.
here was one to chase for a long time. I think this. I actually named them. I had this was Hollywood. Older
Wow.
book here. I used to get into that, man. I used to get into big time bow hunting and stuff. What
Mm.
the people come from all over the world to hunt down here. I'm just glad I got private property. And you wouldn't imagine the people that would sneak over and try to get on us and hunt and stuff.
Mm.
I mean, there's so much Shawnee National Forest around us. They can hunt anywhere, but
Yeah.
they're all
Lord
so
say,
many soybeans and corn around here.
Lord
It's
say crap. I gotta go get my walker.
Uh,
when
Stephen
I go
says,
to
I
work
just
in the
had a
morning,
deer
I'm
run out
dodging
in
deer.
front of me. Go ahead.
Oh, say when I go to work in the morning, I'm dodging deer that just like pull out of my driveway, and they're young ones now. They're
Oh my God.
they're young.
Yeah. God, I was going that we were going down this road. Me and a bunch of guys were going to a flea market early in the morning. It must have been about 4 or 5 o'clock, and dadgummit, you had to go about 10 miles, 15 miles an hour because they were just covering the road. I mean, and just look at you like, duh.
Yeah.
And we were going to the flea market, so we weren't going to take any prizes home with us.
Another funny thing is I was born and raised in Metropolis, uh, Illinois. So we have we're the home of the Superman. We have a Superman celebration. Actually, we have
Ooh,
I think it's 10 foot tall bronze Superman in our town square.
oh my goodness! Is that where they took it? Where he was supposedly born in a little small place and on a farm, so on and so forth.
Yeah, that was right here, my hometown,
Oh,
Metropolis. Yep.
oh my gosh!
Yeah, actually, I used to live. We used to, when I was young and I was poor. We lived in Lois Lane apartments. I lived in Lois Lane
Oh,
apartments, and
Oh,
yeah,
I bet
we
that
have.
was
It was
fun.
down Metropolis Street. Yeah,
oh my goodness! Wow.
yep.
Oh,
We had our
Amy.
Superman celebration.
Amy says her dad was born in North City, Illinois, in 1918. Woo! Clark Kent, Metropolis,
And
Superman.
then
Yeah.
yeah, then they're coming out with the new movie now. I think is it July? It's coming out this month. I think. Clark Kent
Hmm.
Metropolis. Yeah, yeah, Craig. Yeah, I was there.
Metropolis.
Yeah, Metropolis. Born
Did
and
they have
raised.
any new tattoo shops named Kryptonite?
I don't know about tattoo shops named Kryptonite. I don't know.
Yeah, you made it home, huh, T-Bird? Good.
Yeah, we have a
Without
paper. It's called the Daily Planet.
Lord.
cars. Do they have subscribers from all over the world wanting to know how Superman's doing?
Yeah, pretty much.
I was thinking that. Yeah, the home of Superman. They better have some news about Superman.
Yep, Daily Planet. It's kind of crazy that some of the streets around here is named, Lois Lane.
Be safe, T-Bird.
Oh, what was Jimmy's last name?
Olsen.
Olsen. Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen Road Street or something. Named the supermarket after him.
Yep, I have a street called Lois Lane. Yeah, I was there in
Oh,
2000. There was pretty much, it was the Lois Lane was like the low income, like housing is
yeah.
where I was.
Oh. You beat him, huh? Street called Lois Lane. Lex Luthor Barbershop. Hey, but the thing about it is they do that because they're famous all over the world. I mean, so why not? And people, I'm sure people comes down just to see all that, right?
Oh yeah, a lot of people come down. Get a lot of crazy people that. Well, here it is at Superman.
Lex Luthor Barbershop, huh?
Just read.
Metropolitan, June 25. Oh my goodness, there you go.
Bizarro Market.
Superman celebration.
Well, once you went to it once, I mean, like I grew up with it all my life. It was kind of blah. They have an arm
Yeah,
wrestling competition. They have, the Superman celebration. It's mostly pretty much a bunch of overpriced vendors. It's a tourist thing, you know.
yeah, yeah. Good night, Happy Tiger.
Good night, Happy.
So happy.
Blessings, Happy. We got you in our prayers, kiddo.
In fact, right by the Superman celebration, we have a Hardee's. And if you parked in the Hardee's parking lot,
Yeah.
they got your car towed. I was like, way to celebrate, Superman celebration, how to, support your local town. If you're not parking in the paid parking, we're going to tow you.
Step down. I gotta get ready to go to bed. I gotta start work tomorrow. Thanks for having me up here.
Oh, you're welcome. It was fun, and thank you for sharing all that information. Give me lots of stuff to think about. So
Again,
good
I
night.
appreciate you having me up here. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Night.
Thank you. You're welcome. Yes, ma'am. Hey, we've been having you on our prayer Tuesday night prayers too. Do that Zoom call, and your name's on there, and we was praying for you tonight.
She said, "Thank you, Michael. Need it."
And I'll tell you
Yeah,
what, this
we're
was
in our prayer list too for the people of Texas, our home church.
yeah, great. Yeah, yeah. I follow this. I follow a gentleman named Dutch Sheets, and he did a big thing on that today, and he puts out a post Monday through Friday, a video and a posting, and yeah, it's a lot. It's so sad, and a lot of things could have been done differently, and sad that they had to learn it the hard way. I'm learning that their warning signal, they really didn't have one that would, and so that and they had discussed it, and were trying to get funds for it, and they said at one time they thought they had the money to get a warning signal loud enough because when you're off in some deserted area, you may not get a signal to your phone that gives you, gives you those warnings, right? You need
Right. Well,
something to blast you.
yeah, they
Go ahead.
did. They had a warning. Basically, it
Yeah,
was a wall of water. Some locations received like 20 inches of rain, like the day before,
yeah,
and they had a flash flood warning. They had some news outlets reported, didn't have so many warnings, but actually
mm,
the warnings were there. I believe it was. What happened was it was like 1:13 in the morning. They did a
yeah.
flash flood like beforehand, but it was like like the people there, their cell phone signal, it was like almost nothing, I guess,
Yeah, yeah.
because where they were located at.
It was just too hard to really tell. I mean, I think a lot of people tried their very best to do something, but it just fell apart. And who knew that how many people actually knew or thought that the river would just flow down like that, just suddenly, like it did. Oh my
Yeah, I know
God!
it was a wall of water pretty much came through. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
it was crazy.
I know. We live on a street, and I've all the times we've seen heavy rain out here and do flood damage. It didn't come up. We kind of our house is kind of healed up, and we're kind of a little bit above that, and then the house itself is above that. I have a ramp that
Yeah,
goes up to the door, so we're kind of protected. But God, I mean, something like that, something could back up. We're only a half a mile from the river, if that far, and yeah, it's pretty scary times. The good thing about it is we got these I don't even know what you call it, the loud speakers or whatever that actually go. Ooh, I mean, they really sound off. They go from one end of the town. They got several of them. Goes one from one end of the town and back, warning people about fires or tornadoes or this, storms, heavy rains. So it's there's got to be some improvement so these things don't happen. Not only there, but everywhere. We all need to have improvements to protect the citizens, and especially so when we have small children like what happened here. My gosh.
Yeah, contrary to some reports, I mean, forecasters did issue warnings well in advance. On July 3rd. I'll just
Yeah. Wow.
Can only do so much.
they begin. Yeah, exactly. They've been issuing alerts for parts of Central Texas, Kerr County, which is where all the girls got swept up.
Yeah.
For 7 inches of rain, a flash flood was issued for. Here's what the problem was: at 1:15 in the morning. On
Yes.
4th of July.
Goodness.
But it was so much rain fell so fast.
Yeah, and they said, and didn't you just say that it had been raining and the ground was soaked?
Yeah, ground was soaked, and then they issued the warning first, and then here was the one that come through. Many the issued warnings were early morning hours, which reduced the effectiveness. Many people were likely asleep, unaware of the rain that was coming down.
Yeah.
That's why it was saying here it's critical to have this and that, and you know we ask everyone extending grace and compassion. So this is the weather guide that I follow here, Bo Dotson.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were asking, did the National Weather Service? Yeah, they issued warnings well in advance, but a lot of people were asleep at the time.
Yeah.
You talk about a bunch of kids and parents that were, they were at a group camp, 4th of July weekend. They were asleep in bed.
Yeah. And when I go to sleep, I put my phone on vibrate because I don't even want to hear it.
Yeah, that's why
So
another thing is if you have I'll try to show it here if I can, but like on your
okay.
phone, you get SOS alerts. You gotta, you get make sure your phone is active for that.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, if I was camping out, if you don't have no, you know, cell phone signal, bring a weather radio. It
Yeah,
doesn't go off cell phone signals
yeah,
like
yeah.
no weather radio.
Oh, look at that. Saw someone in Texas who put up sandbags around the property and they managed to divert the flood. Their house was saved, but surrounded by water until it receded after a while. Makes sense. I heard Pinball Prepper talking about that same thing about getting sandbags, filling them up, and putting them around the house where it would divert the water. Yeah, a lot of times we don't think that those things are going to happen. They certainly did think that was going to happen in North Carolina and Tennessee. Who'd ever heard of a 1,000-year flood? That that river would back up so and back up so high and just wipe out that whole area. I've been up and down those roads where those people were killed, and I think they're still finding bodies.
Yeah, that's right, Greg.
Sadly,
But the one thing I've learned here is weather's fluid. It can change. If they're
yes, sir.
predicting a clipper, 1 to 2 inches, 8 inches later, it's still snowing. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of things can change in the weather world.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It can indeed, and it's sad, and it's going to take. It's going to take. Oh God, the problem is you can always fix the land, but you can do something that you can replace this and that, but you can't replace a family. You can't replace the children,
No.
and it's hard. It's hard for people to get through that, and I understand that. You know, I lost my son when he was 18 years old. Went out through the front window of his car, hit a stump, him and his buddy, horsing around out there in the fields. Right? Wasn't I don't know that he was driving crazy, but he certainly hit a stump and went through the front windshield. So that was that.
Yeah.
It killed him instantly. It was tough for a while, and
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. I don't dwell on it.
Yeah.
You can't dwell on those things. So it's that warfare that you have to do. You have to decide you're going to do the warfare and not allow that to constantly feed your brain.
Yeah. I used to never wear my seatbelt, and I don't know how many seatbelt tickets. Well, I had to go to the court, got in front of the judge, and the judge says, "Well, we're going to fine you. I think it was $75 for not wearing your seatbelt." He said, "You don't have to wear your seatbelt, but," he said, "if you don't, if you want to bash your face through the front windshield, it's up to you." And
Yeah,
so I started wearing my seatbelt ever since.
yeah, it makes sense. I had another friend that his daughter went through the the front window of a Volkswagen and it ground everything from the chest on down. All they yeah they did a closed casket on her.
Yeah, that's why I was a volunteer for the fire department and the EMS,
Hmm.
and man, you wouldn't believe some of the calls we went on. It was crazy. Just being a first responder, by the fire department and being there for the Massac County Ambulance, which is Metropolis, hometown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you saw all kinds of stuff you didn't want to see.
A lot of bad calls. One
Yeah.
of the ones we had, it was about this time. It was July 4th. This couple, they met in a field. They were farmers. They met in a field. So every year, the husband and the wife, they would take their tractor, go around their property, and the wife would sit on the fender of the tractor. They were out there bush hogging, Well, the fender
Yeah.
gave way, and
Oh my
911.
God.
I got the tone. The tone went off. Well, I was first on scene, and the guy was, he was yelling, help her, please help her," and there was nothing I could do. The fender gave way, and he pretty. I hate to. I don't know how to say this. He the bush hog went over her, and
Oh God. Yeah.
I was first on scene, and I was literally stepping on brain matter. I don't know how to
Ooh.
put it correctly, but and,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Help!" He was screaming, "Help her! Help her!" I said, there was nothing I could do, and that's one of the worst feelings you can, feel in life. When somebody's screaming at you to help her, and I couldn't do nothing. You know, and I was just hoping someone else would show up, next to me. It was just it
Ooh.
was you never heard a man screaming and yelling at you there was nothing I can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the tough ones. Those are really the
Yeah,
tough
that was the
ones.
one I had to get. Well, it kind of haunted me because I had to get debriefed by my sergeant, and it was
Yeah.
it was tough. Been a lot of those. One, there was a wreck on I-24, Interstate 24 here, and a
Hmm.
van had pulled over. A mother pulled over to change the diaper, and her baby, they were in the car seat. The baby was, and then got toned out. Got 1050. I-24 first there. Well,
Yeah.
it was bad that a semi had come over. The van was on the shoulder. The semi come over, hit the van, pushed the van up into the woods,
Mm.
and then we were finding parts of the van, and then we found there was a car seat, and then
Mm.
it was just it wasn't good. They were picking up
Yeah.
pieces
They
of
were gone, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, they were gone. Oh gosh. Yeah. We can all imagine that. Woo! Yes, sir. Well, I'll
And
tell
that
you what. I
was a two.
appreciate
I
what
mean,
you
it
did.
was
You
you
know.
talking about nightmares. You think you could do more,
Yeah.
but there's nothing you could do.
No, there's not. Hit your left side and landed 176 feet down the road, T-Bird. Wow. You say a flat van. I think that's what something about it.
Hit my
Hit
left
him
side,
Flat
across
landed
the
nose
cross. Yeah.
van.
176 feet down the road.
Wow. Took you a long time to recover from that, didn't it, T-Bird? Whew, wee.
We had this one call. It was we got toned out and went to down Unionville Road, and a lady her car was flipped over, and then there was like diapers
Hmm.
out there on the side of the road, and it was like, "Where's the baby? Where's the baby?" So I took my winch to the truck and pulled the car over, and was like, we thought maybe the baby was underneath the car, squash. Well, good
Yeah.
thing the mother just, I guess, had that baby like that weekend. The baby wasn't
Yeah.
there, but it makes you freak out, being first on scene, and you're trying to figure out there's a car seat, there's diapers and bottles and
Yeah.
toys, and it and it I don't know, it's not a good feeling. It it's good to help, but
Yeah.
you get that feeling, it makes your heart sink. Good thing
Sure.
was the baby wasn't there. Come to find out, that she just watched them like that weekend.
She just what?
She babysitted the baby, her her daughter's baby that weekend, and then
Oh.
she was over there in the ditch. She was passed, thrown out of the vehicle, and
Yeah.
so we go over there and we do CPR, and her face was blue. We got her pumped up and got her back to pink, but she was an older
Uh-huh.
lady, and then nothing like doing CPR. And when you do CPR on an older person, sometimes their ribs will break,
Yeah.
and you can feel that, and that's not a good feeling either. But but I mean, sometimes you can do all you can do as a first responder.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
I'm
sir.
I'm glad I don't do that no more. I'll be honest with you, getting I'm glad I don't do that no more.
I remember one time when I was a little younger from Mike when I ever met. I was riding a bicycle home from work, and I saw this car on the top in the middle of the street.
Good gracious.
And they had they called the ambulance and everything, and they come and the baby was in the seat, but she'd gotten glass and stuff, all around her and everything, and so they pulled me over and told me to get off that bike, grab that baby, and make sure she didn't go to sleep.
Uh-huh.
So I spent an hour trying to keep that baby awake because
Yeah.
they were so afraid that she might, have something wrong with her head or something and not wake up again.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah, it's important. We had training about that too. Yep. Try
Yeah.
to keep them awake. To the ambulance. As a first responder, you can only do so much. You're
Right.
not an ambulance.
Yeah. You don't have all the stuff to do it with.
No, you can't. You're just there. You're first on scene. You're trying
Yeah.
to do everything, and you're just hoping. You're looking at your watch. Hurry it. Hurry up. Show
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Hurry up and get here. Wow. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Her mama passed away right here in this house. They and somehow she knew she was having a heart attack and she hit the button on that alert thing and
Yeah.
but it took about 20 minutes to get here and by the time they got here she was already gone and I know that
She was already.
they
Yeah.
yeah they there was eggs that burnt that were cooking and burnt on the stove. They went in there. I'm glad they did that. Went in there and cut it off. But she
Yeah.
was gone, and they revived. You know how they do? They revive the body and rush it to the hospital. I'll never understand that one, but
Well, she already had a do not resuscitate
yeah.
after
You know.
such and such a time.
But the problem is when they come in, they don't know that unless it's like stapled to the wall, or if you live in a small town like we do, you might be able to have that down there, but still it ain't gonna work. But it's hard the DNR thing unless you got it stapled up on the wall and they're actually going to
Yeah,
see
it
it.
is. Yeah, it is a DNR. I've been through a lot of that too.
Yeah,
You don't know if someone has a DNR, just like being a first responder.
right.
It's actually they have a thing in their wallet that has a DNR, do not resuscitate.
Yeah.
But if you're a first responder and
The first thing you're going to do is get in there and try to help them.
you don't know, yeah, exactly. You got to go in
Yeah.
there. You got to do it.
Yeah.
And another thing, if you're like me, a first responder, you come across something like that, and they say you don't stop and you don't help, you can pretty much get in trouble for that, not helping.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And
And if
there's
they know
that.
you're, first responder and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, gosh, Nancy's had that. When we were living in this camp, we were living in a camper for the summer there in North Carolina. Anyways, they would call her when something went wrong with a family member, and she'd be the first one to run over there before because it was out in the country, right? And she actually was given what do you call that, mouth to mouth
Yeah.
to a boy who looked like he was sitting up straight up, and he passed away from I think it was something about water on the heart or something. All right, Craig. Hey, thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Give your family
Night,
hugs from
Craig.
us.
Yeah, that's why it's important to pretty much know that stuff.
Yeah, and the dad could have stopped it just by taking him for medical treatment uh, when it first started, but for some reason he didn't. Maybe he just didn't know what was going to happen or why it was going to happen. How it would happen rather.
That's why we live here. Like we live in the middle of BFE, Shawnee National Forest. I think we
Yeah.
we pay like extra like $5 a month on our electric bill And
Yeah.
it covers the lifeline. You know, if you get in a wreck or somewhere here in the county, you know,
Yeah. Hmm.
it covers it. You know, they can come in and and the lifeline pretty much hospital on you know on wheels. Even though they can come in and land,
Yeah. Wow.
get you up and out real quick.
Yeah. 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 If you're out in the middle of nowhere, that's a good thing to have too. Oh my! I think we're going to say goodnight. It looks like everybody's leaving anyways.
Yeah, they are.
It's after 12, and I couldn't. We had such a great time talking, and I really enjoyed having you up and Niels. I'll have to have a little chat with him. Sometimes you can ignore the language, but sometimes you can't. Hey, freaking!
What's up,
I try to
freaking
keep
awesome?
it family friendly, sir.
You saying hi to freaking.
Yeah, I try to keep it family friendly. Usually, we have people that got their kids on, and I don't want the kids to hear that, the rough language.
Freaking awesome said liked and shared.
But that's all right. I take care of it.
Well, you be blessed, War. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Hey, we're going to be praying. Hope things work out. Don't take a job just because it's there. Take a job because you feel right about it. Sometimes you have to do that, though. You take a job. I've done that many times.
Me too.
And sometimes I paid for it dearly. Because there's employees that they just take advantage of their people really bad. Really bad. Well, so we're going to say goodnight, folks, and thank you, Bait the Hook, for coming on.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, I enjoyed having you on, and you had a lot of good stories for us. Yeah, all kinds of good stuff. It's good to be able to hear people, and the comments are one thing, but actually hearing someone, and talking about their life and what's going on really makes it interesting. And
yep, I enjoy it. Yeah, good talk.
Yes, sir. All right. Good night, folks.
Night, y'all.
All righty. Say your good nights while you can. I'm going to hit this end stream here, guys. Yeah, it was fun.